to follow. If someone from council or someone in city government is pulled over, you have to notify the chief immediately, and I guess that didn't happen. But how is this guy, Cushenberry, just getting nothing? You had empty rum. I mean, if he didn't, there was no breathalyzer or anything like that, so
right.
I guess you can have an empty bottle in your car.
Right. He says that's not illegal.
And it just looks fishy.
And then he admitted that he did have one shot of rum with dinner earlier that night.
And I decided I'm not going to leave this bottle at my friend's house. I'll bring it with me. Yeah, I had one. I've done that too. When the officer says, "How many beers have you had?" I just had one when I, at the club, and that was like 2 hours ago. Okay, when I'd had 3 and then got in my car.
Right, but they never did the breathalyzers. So
right, they didn't do the breathalyzer.
All we have is his word and his excuses for what was happening.
Well, here's what he told Ronnie Dahl.
We had a drink inside of the penthouse as well as dinner.
Could you have been considered legally drunk?
No way.
Intoxicated at all?
No, because they had 9 cops come and talk to me. They knew I wasn't drunk. They didn't give me a sobriety test. They didn't give me any kind of test. They asked me complicated questions, and that's why the supervisor let me go, because he asked me a complicated question of which I answered. So, no, there was not the consumption of alcohol that would be anywhere close to the limit, and that's why he didn't ask me to take a sobriety test.
By the way, the Penthouse is the strip club they were at.
Oh.
They were at a strip club.
Okay, well, hey, I mean, that's also not
against the law.
It's not illegal for him to do.
They have great steaks there. Last time I was there, I had dinner there.
What I enjoy is usually a good indicator if someone is lying is when their voice goes up like Pinocchio about 8 octaves.
So, were you there?
I was totally fine with that.
Yeah, that's why they didn't call me for that. Come on.
And he explains to Channel 7 that it's overblown and there's a racial problem.
Way out of proportion, and I think it's because I've been shaking up so many things, and it's again a part of what I call the driving while black syndrome amongst these white cops in Detroit who pick on people with old cars.
Dude.
Pick on people with old cars. If he had a new car, he wouldn't have been stopped.
Right.
Because white cops don't look at black people with new cars, only with old cars.
Come on, dude. I mean, I'm not black. I can't speak on it. I know it happens. I know the, driving while black does happen. I know people get pulled over for it. But come on, you're a councilman and you're throwing that out. You were in there's nothing wrong with it. But you're a councilman who was at a strip club who has an empty booze bottle in his car, and it smells like pot. It's all above board. The guy has a medical marijuana card. Everything seems to be above board. But you were pulled over for another reason because you're sick. He's saying that it's because he was black. The cop is saying, well, you didn't signal when you turned left. How could he have seen me? How do you know if he can see you? He's behind you. Maybe he actually saw you. Hey, he's John Cena. You can't see me.
Sontel Jenkins, another council member, said, quote, after all the city has gone through at this time in our history, it's more important than ever to have elected officials to serve with the utmost integrity.
Bam! I like her.
Yes.
I like Sontel Jenkins.
So, there's a chance that this guy got away with something here.
It sounds like. I mean, we can't say. The cops didn't charge him with anything, so what can you say? It could legitimately have been an empty bottle.
Sure.
It could have legitimately been medical marijuana. You could have legitimately turned without putting your signal on, and that's why they pulled you over. And when they pulled you over, they saw an empty bottle, and they smelled pot. It's all about board. It's just a perception thing. And who knows? Maybe they pulled you over because you're a black guy in an old car. But if he was behind you, as you say, how did he know it was a black guy driving?
Excellent question.
You're sitting there saying that he couldn't have seen me. There's no way he could have seen me not put on my signal. Well, then how did he see that you were black?
Well, maybe he's saying it was the treatment once they got up to the car because they were yelling at him and they told him to get out of the car and he felt like he was mistreated. But then that particular cop called his supervisor, and it was the supervisor who then made the decision for him to just get a citation and be let go.
Well, that didn't take long. January 10th?
Yeah.
That's like a new record.
It is. That is a record. 10 days in, we've already have our first Detroit City Council scandal.
Proud of you, Detroit.
And so Cushenberry could have gotten may get away with this if the investigation shows that the police messed up and all that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, but he's getting away with it because you can't prove anything.
Well, right now,
Yeah, and
they
we're
can't do, it's not like they can do a breathalyzer now.
Right. I mean, he by law didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
You know, again, it's an empty bottle. There was no breathalyzer, and it's medical marijuana.
So basically,
He didn't break any law.
well, and the police basically the ones who did something wrong because they didn't test them and all that kind of
And
stuff.
that's where the investigation.
Right.
Yeah,
That's why it's internal affairs.
Right.
So in his mind, he knows he probably did something. Okay, so he gets away with something. All right. When have you ever gotten away with something? When have you ever?
It's Ron and Tony. More of 2 years ago.
If you've been working out, eating right, but still have problem areas, you may benefit from cool sculpting.
fall to the sea. As church bells ring and sing in harmony, I heard them say they're shutting Detroit down, but I won't leave, 'cause this is my hometown. And it's times like these we can't replace. It's times like these we must embrace. And even though it's bittersweet, it brings us to our knees. It makes us who we are in times like these.